Oh. Okay, it's gonna click. Oh, I see how this works. So I click going live on my end. So now, okay, should be live.
Boom. Where
Let's
does it take
see.
off though?
Yep, now we're on the. Now
There
we're
we
on the.
go.
That's interesting. Okay.
All right, you can kick it off, brother.
Oh, it's just me licking my lips.
Yeah.
Okay. So let me get myself off the screen because that's just weird watching me delay. Welcome back, my friends. We are in week 5. This is the second to last of this real estate mastery class that we're doing. Okay. If you like all this content,
people, we rebranded it. Let's just remind people.
it was called New Agent Bootcamp, but I got corrected because basically everyone who was watching was like, "Yo, I'm not a new agent, and this stuff is good. Like, I need to learn this." I'm like, "Okay." You know, when I first started, I was thinking like everyone kind of probably does something similar, and I just learned the hard way myself that no, people are not doing something similar. So it's fine. We're now calling it Real Estate Mastery, so I'm very excited for that. And
We aren't afraid to pivot and rebrand, right?
yeah, exactly. And I'm actually really happy to hear that there's value for others as well. It's not just new agents. So good feedback. Thank you, everybody. What we're going to do is basically I'm going to recap the last 4 weeks. This is not going to be a long one, by the way, because it's not that hard to figure out, but it's always good stuff to hear. So I'm going to recap the last 4 weeks. And then next week, the last one, we're going to go over working with investors, which is probably my favorite section. And that'll help. It'll be fun. So just to summarize, let's start back with week 1. When we first started, we were going over mindset, and we were talking about, basically, I introduced this idea to you called OPBs, other people's beliefs. And what tends to happen is as we interact with others, whether they be another realtor, a peer, coworker, family member, friend, girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever, anything that there's people that you interact with, everywhere you go, your parents, they end up installing ideas. People say things, and we don't realize the weight and gravity that our words sometimes have. Sometimes when we speak, we think we just say something because, whatever, just throw it out there. Maybe it's just a simple thought. Or we might doubt something we hear, and we might say something like, I don't know about that. But we don't realize that sometimes what we say deeply impacts another. And as we walk through this world and we're interacting with all these people, top producers, people who are not producing, office managers, brokers, mortgage brokers, title managers, buyers, and sellers, they're all going to come to you with all these opinions, beliefs, and expectations of what they think real estate is supposed to be like. And the purpose of week 1 was to really just make you focus on what you know is true. I want you to keep the idea of having personal integrity in the center of your mind. To have a whole, sound, personal integrity mindset is to keep that mindset of, I know what I experience. What I experience is real to me, and that's how I'm going to make my decisions. What I experience, touch, see, smell, feel, learn, is how I'm going to decide things. Yes, we can ask others for input. But before we ask for input, we want to make sure that we are okay with the person giving us the input. Is this person qualified to give you advice? Right? So, say for example, you go into, because this happened to me. This is a real life thing that happened to me. I walked into a real estate brokerage, which I will not name, I'll leave them nameless. Okay? And they claim to be the best training in the world. Training, right? That was their whole thing. And I sat in on their classes when I was like my first or second year of real estate, and I started learning from people, and I just assumed that the person teaching is a top producer because why else would they have them teaching the classroom? And it was just not the case. The person teaching was not a top producer. And if I was running my own office at that time, I would never ask this person to come teach. And I didn't learn that until I already made all the mistakes trying to do their ideas, thinking that what they thought was true was more important or more impactful than what I thought was true. I created a lot of self-doubt. And this is a pattern that repeated over and over and over until eventually I was taught about mindset and taught about discovering where my information comes from being more important than what the information is. These are all things that someone had to teach me. So now I'm passing it forward, teaching it to you, and I hope you keep the same mindset. Before you allow another to influence you, you have to be okay with who they are and the results that they have. If you let's say you reach out to a top producing realtor and you say, hey, I want to join this team, okay, look at their results. What kind of car do they drive? Where do they live? What's their home? Do they dress well? I'm not saying that everything's materialistic, but you can see through what they have if the results are there, right? Even better than that, look up on MLS and see how many deals they closed. Look at their stats. Look up and through the office production and find out how many deals is this person closing. Make sure they are the person you want to be before you do it. Like, so for example, if you want to learn how to flip houses, find a guy who's flipping houses, right? And you learn from that person. So just being sure of who our resources are. That'll be a game changer for everybody. The second week, I think we were talking about communication. And Luca, if I miss a week, remind me. So if we are, in the second week, we were talking about communication. There's two forms of communication that we were going to focus on, written and verbal. Both have their own strengths, okay? But they're both very effective. A lot of people like to tell you that mail doesn't work. There's something you have to keep in mind, and I'm going to break this down, okay? First, when it comes to verbal communication is very powerful to create influence in the moment. So speaking on the phone, talking with a person face to face, your body language, your tone, your delivery, how it's said, the energy that you portray, you are catering an experience to your customer. You have to be mindful of what you're saying and how that customer is receiving it and what their experience is like as a whole, not just what you're just trying to get your point across. We're going to stay mindful of who we're speaking to. The power of spoken word creates massive spikes of influence through conversation. And the more that we do it, the more conversations we have with a person, the more they're going to start to like you. There's a simple principle in life. The more you like someone, the more you talk to them, the more you're willing to be around them. If you take any of those 3 points and use it to your advantage, either be around a person more, or communicate and talk to them more, or find agreement with them, like basically, like even when basically still communication, but when you find things that you agree on, all of a sudden you have the same reality, right? You're sharing reality with each other. If you take any of those 3 points and use those to your advantage, you will find that customers really start to like you, and all of a sudden they start to say, hey, I really want to be around this person, right? And they really want to work with you. That's the power of spoken words, right? So it's all about creating influence with the delivery and the experience that we're catering to them. The power of written communication is that once it's put down in the physical world, right? I want you to think from a spiritual sense. I just gave you like the spiritual side first. Now we're going to go to the physical world. In the physical world, we write down thought and we bring it into reality, right? So now it's written on a piece of paper, whether it's mail, email, social media posts, anything where you're writing something out. That stays out in reality until it's destroyed. So it literally can go on perpetually, whereas words are going to be gone the second people stop hearing it, right? When you're done speaking, written communication stays out for as long as it's in existence until you destroy the medium that it's written on. So you have to delete the email, you have to throw out the letter, you have to throw away the postcards, you have to delete the post. And even if you delete the post or delete the email, there's a chance it could be recovered. So you got to be careful with what you say, right? But written communication has a much more longer lasting effect. Does it create as much influence? Not necessarily. The voice power is definitely way better at influence. But written communication can stay in existence and be basically longer lasting, right? So with that, you can find that it hits the person at just the right moment, just because it's there. Sending messages, sending emails, sending mail. You might find that someone takes a mailer of yours or whatever, and they stuff it on a bunch of papers in a pile in their kitchen, and they're like, oh, they can't look at this right now, but they know they're going to get to it later. That pile grows, and we're all guilty of that. Sometimes we have a pile of mail that we know we're supposed to open. I mean, there's a pile of mail right there on my desk, like I know I'm supposed to open it, right? And it happens, right? You will find that 2-3 months down the road, someone might open that, and it could just hit them at the right place, the right time. They see the communication. The other thing that could happen is others see the communication. You have the postcard out. It says just all these just closed, under contract sales, all active listings, whatever's on that postcard. Maybe the person who receives it right away didn't really want to use it or whatever. They toss it to the side. They think it's garbage. They're going to throw it out when they get a chance. But someone else comes along and sees it. That's the power of long-lasting written communication. Even when it's on social media, you can re-up these posts. They keep showing up on things. So we just want to be mindful that when we put these communications out, we have two versions. We have the high-influence, short-lasting, and then we have the long-lasting, steady stream of info that doesn't create as much influence, but it could still hit, and it does a good job of doing so. It's effective. It's proven. What was week 3?
Week 3 was probing for the real problem, bringing certainty to the table, and delivery is more important than what you actually say.
So week 3, I touched a little bit on the communication back from week 2, but the other thing that we hit on is probing. Okay, so if you guys remember that my friend Morgan, who I shared his Instagram account link, I could pop that up again for those who are new here. Morgan works at Cardone Canada in Canada. I don't know where in Canada because I don't live there. But we met each other on a bunch of these trainings that I've done, like 10x Bootcamp, Sales Bootcamp, 10x Growth Con. Like I met his guy in a lot of places. And I'm not screen sharing. Let me screen share. There you go. And here he is, Morgan, right at the top. Morgan is an incredible sales trainer. He's like really good at what he does, and I loved having conversations with him. He's got some good video content in here, and specifically what I pulled up, I believe, was this video, where he goes in, and if you guys have some time, go in and watch it. And he's on a call with a car dealership, and he's teaching them how to close a customer and probe to find out what's really motivating them. It turns out that a lot of times when you speak with your customer, you might provide them with solid info, right? Let's say someone comes along and like, I want to sell this house. Okay, great. So you sit down and show them exactly how you're going to sell their house. And then they hit you with, okay, great, I'll let you know. Well, the argument that we have there, that the reason why they're not ready to sign up on the spot is because there is what's called an unspoken objection. There is something that they're not telling you that we have not addressed. Sometimes they don't know that they have this unspoken objection. They might need to develop a little bit of thought and like talk for a little while. Sometimes they do know and they just don't want to bring it up right away. But probing for the real objection, remember probing, is what makes a successful salesperson stand out from the rest, that people that just say, oh, okay, and walk away, right? So how do we probe? It's really simple. Why is that, sir? Big smile on your face, being mindful of the experience that we're creating for the customer, and we dig deep. Dig deep, right? Morgan actually goes in on this video, and I believe one person gave him the objection, it's expensive. And one of the cardinal rules of sales that he'll teach you, and I've taught you, and I know I've said this a bunch of times, is always, 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 always agree with the customer. Even if you find yourself in a situation where they say something where you're like, I don't agree with that, I bet you can understand why they are saying what they're saying. Because if you're mindful of the fact that we all have our own reality that's shaped by our experiences, what we've been taught, our knowledge based on the world around us, right? If you're mindful of the fact that we all don't have the same thoughts, we have all different experiences shaping how our mind works, then you can understand that a customer who does not have the experience you have, they might have certain thoughts that you don't agree with, but you can agree with how they could have gotten there, right? You could agree with how they could be thinking what they're thinking. So I would say something like, instead of, someone saying, hey, I think I can get this house for 30 grand cheaper in this market where everyone's paying crazy over ask, right? Instead of saying, absolutely not, what are you, crazy? And making that guy wrong, you would say something like, yeah, I totally understand. That makes a lot of sense. I can see why you think that. Let's sit down and go over some comparables. We'll figure out what people have been paying for houses in this area. I'll show you some closed sales. We'll figure it out. Right? There's agreement, and then there's a solution to be provided to create influence. Okay? So probing, finding out why. Oh, I didn't even get into that. So that was how we handled the reality change, right? The agreement. Then there was the whole point where Morgan was talking about finding the unspoken objection, which was using a simple line. Say, okay, so other than blah, 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 is there anything else preventing you from moving forward? Whatever the objection is, like, I have to talk to my wife. Okay, great. So other than talking to your wife, is there anything else preventing you from moving forward? It's a simple question. I'm not sure. I have to interview other realtors. I know I have another appointment today. Okay, great. So other than being unsure and the fact that you have to interview another realtor today, is there anything else preventing you from moving forward?
By the way, I use this tactic, Andrew, to great effect. Not in a real estate thing, but just last week for a consultancy job or an NFT project.
Awesome.
I got the typical brush off. I'd have to go back to my partners, and all I said to them, I said, okay, well, they've been your partners for a while. What do you feel their objections to this would be? And it gives them a nice, easy out to really say their objections without taking ownership of it, right?
Sure. Yeah, that's part of the asking why, right? And that's the next thing I would say, something along the lines of, why is that, sir? When you hear something that's like, you hear an objection where they say, okay, I have to go speak to my husband. Okay, I totally understand. Is there anything other than speaking to your husband that's preventing us from moving forward? No, I really just have to speak to my husband. Okay, I totally understand. That makes a lot of sense. Let me ask you a question. How long have you guys been married? I don't know, 10 years, 15 years. 15 years. I bet you, who knows that guy better than you? Does anyone know? I bet you know him better than he knows himself, right? That guy can't get dressed in the morning without you. What do you think you would say? Right? And let them talk. Let them get it out. Let them figure out what the solution is going to be in their mind. And most of the time, you're going to find that when they, listen, my experience, most of the time you find with the spouse, they say something like, well, they probably just tell me to do what I think is best. Right? But then they say, I still want to talk to them. I say, okay, I understand. So other than still wanting to talk to them, is there anything else preventing us from moving forward? And if they insist that, no, I just need to talk to them, fine. Let them talk to them. We're not going to force people to do something they don't want to do. But at least we know we can dig deep, probe, and dive and find what the real objection is. You might actually ask again and find why they just want to talk to them. And there might be another unspoken objection that gets brought up. Well, one time, I decided to, hire this plumber, and it just ended up being a nightmare, and he got really upset with me that I didn't talk to him first, so I just want to talk to him first this time. Fine. That's a valid objection. Right? And that's something that's real, that could happen to anybody. But you address the real problem. So you say, okay, great. So other than the fact that last time you hired the wrong person and you don't want to make that mistake again, is there anything else preventing us from moving forward? No, I really just want to make sure that's the case. Okay, great. Now we can handle the real objection, the real problem, why you're not the wrong person. This is why you're the right person. And why we're not in that moment. You got to bring them back to reality. We're not in that time right now. We're not that person. You're not going to repeat the same mistake. Right? This is how you find the real problem. And now you'll be able to close people much faster, much higher, because we simply ask a simple question. Why? What's preventing you from moving forward? Other than blah, blah, blah. What's preventing you from moving forward? Don't forget the other than, because it's important. Saying other than whatever the thing is there anything preventing you moving forward? This part, the beginning part of the sentence, is an acknowledgement. It makes people know that they were heard. If you don't repeat that part, it might not sound like you're listening. The fact that you're repeating what you're saying is a validation that you were listening. So don't lose that. What was the next thing?
All right, week 4, we did that live buyer's consultation. The summary we have is how to bring customers into consultations, how to perform these consultations, and understanding how people learn.
Yes.
So that's a quick summary. The video and the consultation really spoke for itself.
Totally. And guys, I've actually decided that if you're in the actual coaching program, the Actually Agents coaching program, you're going to have access to all the recordings of these videos, and we can talk about that on the side. But what I want you guys to know about that consultation was basically, look, we want to make our buyers want it. We want to make our sellers want it, right? And the way to do that is to ask simple, eye-opening questions that are logical and make sense, right? So we have a buyer here, first time they're buying a house. Okay, Mr. Buyer, this is clearly the biggest financial. You just want to start it off like, hey, look, you just want to role play with me? I think it's always best to role play it.
Yeah, first for context, before we ever are going out to a house, Andrew, what he does for his buyers' clients
is bring them into a Zoom meeting. So
Right.
he's not wasting a ton of time going out and meeting with them or whatever. He brings them into a Zoom meeting, presents them with clear, easily digestible data so that they can come to their own conclusions. So when
Right.
we're talking about a buyer consult, this is what we're talking about here. So for context for this role play would be, I would be in a Zoom with Andrew. He's got the MLS pulled up in front of me, and he's asking these probing questions to really try and understand, what do I know?
Before we even
What
get
do
into
I
that,
not know? So
before
there's the
we even go
context.
into the Zoom, I just want to bring you in for it. So right now, we just met each other, first time.
Yep.
All right, so Luca, I'm excited to work with you. Thanks for reaching out to me. I'm so glad you so-and-so referred us.
Yeah, man. She said she had a really, really great experience. They didn't end up buying, but she said, if they ever think about it in the future, you're the guy.
Yeah,
So-
appreciate that. Thank you. So listen, what's your budget for this?
About 400,000. I think we could swing.
Okay, 400,000. I understand. So listen, this is clearly like the biggest financial decision of your life. Would you agree?
Yes. Yeah.
How many
it would
times
be.
in your life have you spent $400,000?
Not too often. This one has me nervous.
Yeah, I understand. So look, what I want to do with you is I want to sit down and we'll get on a Zoom call with each other. It'll only take about 30 minutes. It won't take too long. And I want to show you all of the sold sales in, what town are you buying in?
I am going to be buying in Merrick.
Okay,
Long
Merrick.
Island.
Perfect. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up all of the closed sales in Merrick for the last 6 months. And we're going to do this with a screen share over Zoom. And what I'll do is we'll compare the asking price and we'll see what the sold price is. You'll look at how many days on market each listing is going for, so you get a good idea on an average. And we'll flip through the photos and compare, like, okay, this one was asking this, it's in this condition, this is what they got. And we'll start figuring out what's going to happen when we buy, what's going to happen when we get on market. You're going to see what happens when people make offers with cash, when they make offers with a mortgage. By the time we're done, I'm going to make you so knowledgeable about Merrick that by the time you see houses, you're going to know exactly what they cost. You'll know, we'll walk into a property and be like, okay, this is going to sell for that. This house I need to offer 15 grand more. This house I could save 10 grand on. Sound good?
Yeah, sounds great. How long will this take?
About 30 minutes.
Okay, yeah, I can easily budget that.
So it's cool. So basically what we want to do is give them a simple, logical question where we're asking them, like, how many times in your life have you spent X? Right? How many times in your life have you spent $500,000? How many times in your life have you spent $1 million? What I want to do is sit down and show you what's going on in the market right now. This way, when we get out there, you're prepared. And I promise you that if you take the time to do this, you're going to be 80 to 75% way ahead of the buyers. Your chances of success are going to skyrocket because most of those buyers out there are just winging it. They're not sitting down and figuring this stuff out before they go. So they go out and they see houses and they're just making offers and guessing what they're going to have to pay and stuff like that. And they're not winning. They're losing. And they're losing out on houses that they want. But if we prepare these people in beforehand, you're going to find that you as the realtor start closing deals way faster. You're not showing as many properties. The amount of showings you do goes down dramatically. Okay? And then the offers that they make sense. The offers make sense. They're going to make offers that are in line with what the market's doing. So you're not going to have these unrealistic expectations. And by providing them with data and just asking simple questions while they watch what's on the screen, you're going to find that they start drawing all of their own conclusions. This works just as effectively with sellers. With sellers, you sit down and you have this guy who has unrealistic expectations of what his property is going to sell for, or maybe they're realistic and they just need to know what's going on. You sit down with them, show them the data. How many houses have you sold in your lifetime? Well, great. Obviously, this is going to be a big decision. So what I want to do is show you what your neighbors have been getting. Let's take a look and see what houses around you have been selling for. And we'll figure out together what we think we could sell this one, because we'll see what's going on. I promise you, if you do these consultations with both your buyers and your sellers, you could do them in person, you could do them in your office. I was doing them in my office before the pandemic. Now we do them over Zoom because everyone is very comfortable with Zoom. You will see your closing ratio go sky high. Buyers will come to you when the other agents can't get deals done. When like they'll tell you stories of like look, I've been looking for a house for a year. I keep getting outbid. I don't know what's going on. First thing I do is, okay, this guy has wrong information. First thing we need to do is clear up everything that he understood for the last year. The entire process of his home shopping experience he's been given wrong information. There has to be things that happened that he experienced that either there was no transparency, someone did something that was unethical, or they don't know because they've never been taught. And the first thing we're going to do is clear up all that information. You do that for people, and I promise you, they stick with you for life. The same thing goes on the seller side. They stick with you for life. This is a level of transparency most realtors are not doing. It also increases your efficiency. You don't show as many houses. You don't put listings on market that are unreasonable. I got to tell you, in 7 years of being a broker, I've been doing these consultations probably 4 years. And there was only one person who I sat down with who looked at the information on the screen and said, okay, yeah, I see what you're showing me. I get it, but my friend said blah, 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 blah. And after bringing them through this and look, showing them straight from MLS, this is the data, and they still wouldn't accept reality, I knew I was not going to bother. And this was going to be a person that was going to make me drive around and see house after house after house after house. She might buy something, but I promise you it ain't going to be me, because I am not going to spend that gas, that mileage, that time, that energy, the scheduling, and then, you know how buyers do things. They might even back out of deals, and you ruin your own reputation with the other realtor because they don't believe that your buyers were serious, and you're pushing it, right? So all that stuff gets eliminated.
Andrew, from that live buyer consultation that you presented last week, my biggest takeaway from it was the moment when that buyer said, and you were laying out the mortgage payments, and you brought them up like 20% on what they would have felt comfortable with their purchase price. And she said, wow, that's a lot less terrifying than I thought. And that's the first time she gave any indication. We're about 35 minutes into this presentation. It's the first time she gave any indication that she was nervous or terrified about the process or ignorant to the facts. And the reason why I can get away and agents can get away joking about buyers wanting to go out and look at houses without a pre-approval is because it's a real thing that happens, because to your point, Andrew, 90% of agents are not taking the time to properly educate their clients, whether that's through the marketing, the branding on social media, or just taking the 30 minutes to do a consultation like this.
Yeah.
And if you do it, you're immediately ahead of the pack.
100%. And your influence is sky high. I mean, these customers will never leave me. Never, never, never leave me. They literally can't imagine buying without me because there's so much transparency, so much trust. And I taught them everything from scratch. In the consultation, I also teach you guys how to learn calculating mortgage payments. I would advise you, just for your own success, sit down with your favorite loan officer and learn something from them. Because if you know how to calculate mortgage payments, you are going to be like a realtor on steroids. Because most realtors
dance
cannot.
Around it. Yeah.
Huh?
I said don't dance around it. Most realtors don't want to touch it because they think it's outside their purview.
No, but
and
listen.
that's when deals fall apart.
Exactly. And you might be on the spot where you're making up an offer, and if you don't know how to calculate mortgage payments, you might not realize getting them to come up 10 grand is going to change their monthly payment by about, I don't know, maybe rates have gone up right now, so let's just say $40 a month, right? $40 a month is going to get them an accepted offer, but they don't know that. You don't know that because you didn't sit down and learn from your loan officer. All right? So one of the first things I did to have success in this industry was sit down with my loan officer and learn what are they doing, what qualifies people for a loan, how do you get a mortgage, what are loan officers looking for? And that's going to lead me right into week 5, finding an incredible team, a good loan officer.
Week 5, partnering with a strong lender, attorney, and other vendors. Identifying co-marketing opportunities and how to refer your team.
And I think by that, Andrew, you're talking the team of people around you, not just people on your real estate team.
No, I mean like your loan officer and your attorney.
Yep.
Right? Okay, any questions so far? I know we just did a lot. It was a big recap. And if any questions pop up, you want to post them, I'll just give you guys a minute.
I think we're good for now. let's just get into it. And there's no shame in my game. I'll interrupt you if a question comes up. So,
Excellent.
but yes, guys, if you have questions, pop them in the YouTube chat. Questions about anything Andrew's already talked about, anything we're going to be talking about here. Try to keep them on topic, but if you want to know where he got that great looking shirt, I'll field those questions too.
Bro, this might be an Alfani. This is an old one from Macy's.
Oh yeah, baby, max out that card.
So let's jump into week 5, okay? Partnering with a great lender, finding co-marketing opportunities. All right, first let's talk about the lenders. All right, I look for very specific types of lenders. I look for they don't have to be like the number one top producing guy and he's so big, he's so important, blah, 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 blah. No. I'm looking for someone who's going to teach me, pick up the phone, and help me learn the process so I can learn how to better close my customer. I'm looking for someone who is patient because there's a lot of people out there, top producers, like, send me the deal, send me the deal, send me the deal, send me the deal. But if they're not willing to sit down and teach you something, how is that going to be a mutually beneficial relationship? Right? So there are so many lending options. There's so many loans in all different types that I honestly feel like you could dedicate a week to try to learn all the different loan types, and there's still going to be new ones that are created, and you might not get them all because there's just tons of options when it comes from hard money, conventional, non-conventional, like all this stuff. I actually learned recently about loans that are great for entrepreneurs, and I used it to buy my own house. I'm closing on my house on Tuesday. Congratulations to me. So anyway, we are realtors that spend time with customers. So if they want us to refer these customers, we build relationships with these people, right? So we have our customers know who we are. You almost form a bond with these customers. And when we send them off to a lender, we need to know that this lender is going to be an extension of you, and they want to cater to that bond. They're going to be helpful. They're going to teach. And if they're willing to teach and be open with you and help you, then I promise you they'll do it with their customer. All right, so that's the number one thing that I look for when it comes to lenders. They can have the best loan programs, and they always close the deal, and whatever, they have all these incredible bank. I mean, you guys know the spiel. Every loan officer tells us the same thing. I can close super fast. I have the best this. I have the best that. We have all the stuff, underwriting in-house, blah, 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 blah. I walk down the hall. I could tell this person to do this, do that. Okay, yeah, they all say the same thing. We know that part. But who's going to teach me? Who's going to make me better? Who's going to help me close more? Right? That's what I look for. Now, when it comes to co-marketing, there's a lot of ways that you can, kind of tag up on stuff. I'll give you an example of some of the stuff that we did. Today we came up with a great idea. I hope Steve is on this live. If Steve Cheduk is on this live, he's in the actually agents coaching group. He's on my team personally. He's on my personal team. And we came up with a great idea. We're making, he's got some friends who own gyms. And these gyms, they're all around, he's part of the gym community. He's a big built guy. He's tall, strong. So he's in that gym culture. And he knows the gym owners are going to let him put up some signs. Let him put up a few posters around the gym. So originally, we were looking at, a sign. We were trying to figure out what do we put up. I came up with this idea. We were on the phone. We were brainstorming. Originally, I had Adriana put up a sign in one of her places where it's a picture of her, and she's got a professional headshot, and it says in Spanish, if you're looking for help buying a house, call me, blah, 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 and her name and number's there. And I was thinking, okay, Adriana's angle is that it's in Spanish, and she's relating to that customer. What angle does Steve have? The guy loves working out. He's got gyms. How do we appeal to the people in the gym? So we were sitting on the phone, we were brainstorming for a little bit, and then it just hit me. I'm like, bro, go to the gym in a suit, okay? Take the same suit you're wearing in your headshot, wear it to the gym, and start taking photos. Bench press with the suit on. Curl with the suit on. Do some squats on your back, and wear a suit, okay? And then I want you to do a series of things. Smile in the mirror while you take the photos, and lifting looks easy. I got this. On the bench, smiling up, we got this. We got you covered, right? Or even with the squat. And then he has some other ones where he's going to be serious, where he's got a headband on. He's going to look like his face is a little sweaty. And he's really lifting. And then on the sign, it was going to say, don't work with a realtor that doesn't even lift. Something silly like that. And like when we were saying it, we were laughing so hard. And everyone I've said it to so far has been laughing. Adriana's trying not to laugh right now. It's like something to make yourself appeal, right? So what are we going to do? I'm going to take this content. He's going to take the photos and send it to me. I'm going to take this. I'm going to bring it to my lender, who I have a great relationship with. They're going to print these marketing things for me. They'll probably throw a little section on the poster for themselves. And boom, we have a co-marketing opportunity that's not even expensive. I mean, it's probably going to be like 50 or $100 to make like 10 posters or whatever. And it's co-marketed, co-branded with the other people. It's funny. It's got an angle. People are going to laugh. So you're going to have one series of photos where he's got a smile on his face. It's like making all that hard work look easy, right? While he's lifting or he's bench pressing and he's like, don't do any of the hard stuff. I got you. I already know what I'm doing, right? And then he's got the series. Then like 6 months later, let's say everyone in the gym already saw his posters and it's funny. And like now, like, you know, everyone's seen it. So they're used to it. Swap him out. Put the second set on. Now he's got the headband on and he's sweating in the photo. And he's like, bro, does your realtor even lift? I'm like, this is nonsense, right? Stuff like this is going to crack up people. It's in that culture. It's in the gym culture. You can work on what the verbiage says exactly, but like stuff like that, that's in that gym culture. And you can co-brand this with the loan officer. Now, I know my loan officer, Ben Lavender, would absolutely 150% meet Steve at the gym and spot him on those photos. He'd be like, you need a team like this, right? And they're like, and he's doing squats and Ben Lavender's behind him in a suit, squatting with him, right? That would be another great co-marketing opportunity. That's hilarious. People would see this. They would love these guys. They're like, we want to work with these guys, right? These are just some of the ways that we were co-marketing and trying to get things out with lenders. You could go the other traditional route too, where some lenders will invest in leads online. They'll do lead generation with you. Like you could buy Realtor or Zillow ads. I'm not a huge fan. I used to be a fan when they were cheaper, but now they're just way too expensive to do that.
And they're rebranding it too.
Oh yeah, what are they doing? Zillow Flex?
No, Zillow Flex. They're rebranding now to a new DBA Rocket Home, I believe it's called. But they shut down their flipping business because it was an absolute flop, and now they've committed to doubling the amount of money they make off of real estate agents, which I laugh, bro. I laugh.
No intent to help. Just okay. They whatever route you decide to go. I worked with Zillow. Okay, I bought from them in the past. I bought from them when I first started, and I spent I think $350 a month back in 2016. And I used to get like 50 leads a month. And I would close 1, 2, 3 deals a month. And there were some months where I didn't, but then there are other months where like because I was getting 50 leads a month, I would put more under contract. And I'd be like, this is great. I didn't see what the problem was. But that was also 2016. And I was in a zip code where there was a lot of leads. I was in part of Queens. And then something changed. Because along the way, 2017, the prices went up a lot. 2018 went up even more. And fast forward to today, it's almost 10 times what I was paying. And not getting 50 leads. Making 2 to 3 leads a month. I mean, it's like, it's just not, it's not efficient. And they like to tell me that, whatever, you're making more than you're spending per year. But yeah, I'm not looking to make double. I need to make 4 times the investment. So that was my experience. I don't want to say anything bad about the company, but that was why I stopped doing it. And that could be another opportunity for you to partner with a lender. Now, if you're sharing that with a lender, they're eating half the cost, you're eating half the cost, okay, maybe it's a better value for you at that point. Another great thing that I do with my lender that I really love is they send us all of their past leads for the last 2 to 3 years that did not close. And this was actually taught to me by Aaron. He talked about this in the mastermind. But we've been doing this right now in the last week. Adriana, how many people did you find? You got 4? I think in a list of 100, she got 4 or 5 people.
Even more.
What?
Even more.
Even more. Okay. And this is literally just going through the lender's old leads. We basically called the lender and said, hey, Ben, send me your old stuff. I'm going to go through them and call them and find out who's still on the market, basically. So she goes through and she says, hey, I know you spoke with Ben at one point. Just out of curiosity, you still looking for a home? Simple question like that. She was able to pull up 4 or 5 active buyers And it didn't take long. I mean, you're talking in a few days. Those buyers could have something to sell. They could refer you other people. You put them in the buyer's consultation, you create so much influence. Now, all of a sudden, those are your clients. The possibilities are endless. And almost every lender's got a database. I mean, if they said they don't have a database of past leads, I wouldn't believe them. It's just maybe they don't want to give it to you. Maybe they don't know you well enough. I mean, I did this with someone that knows me well enough. And I'm not taking credit for this, by the way. I learned this from Aaron. You're going to see Aaron a lot more because he and I have been working together a lot. But, yeah, this is just another great opportunity to find ways to leverage and work together with your team. Now, let me move into the attorney. Because to me, the attorney is actually a little more important than the lender in my book. Because if I don't get communication from the attorney, I become useless to my client. And that, to me, breaks my heart. If I can't call the attorney, get them on the phone, and get questions, or text them, or whatever, they make me go through a paralegal. They don't want to speak to me. They don't respect brokers. They don't like brokers. Every broker is stupid and unintelligent. Okay, fine. Whatever. You're so smart and better than everybody. Okay? But then there's the others that are transparent with you, that pick up the phone, answer your questions, teach you things. I have been blessed enough that I have worked with a handful of lenders and attorneys who have been very nice to me, who have taught me things, who have taught me about contracts. They taught me what's in standard contracts. They teach me about laws in my state. And I know above and beyond what the average realtor knows because I take the time with them. I go to lunch with them. They sit down and learn things. We talk about specifics in our deal, and I learn the ins and outs. But more importantly, when you guys look for an attorney, are they available to you? Because what happens is if we get an attorney that doesn't pick up the phone, they're not patient, they don't want to teach you anything, your customer has a question while you're under contract and you can't address it, your relationship starts to go down. And it's not even your fault. Your customer could agree that it's not your fault and be like, I can't get the attorney on the phone, can't get the attorney on the phone. If that's my attorney and who I referred, forget it. They might love me, but they're not happy with the guy that I sent them to. And it makes them wonder, is your judgment that great when you refer people? So this is like important stuff that I wish I knew when I first started and stuff you want to be mindful of as you're out there doing business. And Luca, what was the last point on this?
The last point that we had here.
Because we're approaching the end anyway.
Yeah, how to refer your team.
Okay, yeah. Most important part. Okay? When it comes to the lender, group text, golden. Group text is Are you taking videos of me?
Yes.
Group text, golden, okay? If you get a group text going, that does one of two things, okay? First, everyone's got each other's contact information. Great. Second, which not everyone's mindful of, it creates accountability to respond. And that's on both sides, lender and the other customer, the customer, okay? When there's accountability to respond, because it's a three-way text, people are more likely to engage instead of saying something like the lender's going to call you or call this guy. Here's his number. Call him. When you create that accountability, that's when you really leverage the fact that, hey, there's three people here. I know if you're going to actively listen or not. All right, make sense, Luca? Yeah.
Absolutely. Sorry, I gotta unmute my mic when I do. Otherwise, you hear my keyboard going off. Makes 100%. It's very easy to ignore a text message from one person, but when you're in a group chat, it's almost like you're on stage.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly. And here's the other thing. And, you gotta be mindful.
Before you continue, Andrew,
yeah.
I just want to let you guys know this is the last point for this session. So we're gonna come up on a free-for-all Q&A session. Anything about this session, or I know we have one off-topic question about cold calling expired. So you are dealing with a very, very knowledgeable, experienced person here giving this information. So please drop any questions in the YouTube Q&A. It can be on the subjects Andrew's talking about. I would love for it to be on these subjects. The masterminds are obviously a better forum to ask these potpourri questions, but drop them in the YouTube live chat and we will get to them. Sorry about that, Andrew.
It's all good. So all I wanted to say is when you have a group text going, there's another thing that not everyone's paying attention to. But when there's 3 or 4 people in a group text, the notifications goes off way more. So if you're really trying to get someone's attention, You want them to respond on both sides, right? So we want the lender to respond, we want our client to respond. I might intentionally send 1-sentence text messages at a time. So purposely just send like ding, 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 4. Like I really won't go beyond 4. Like, hey guys, really want to introduce you guys. Very excited you're going to meet. You're going to love this lender. He's great. Ben, can't wait for you guys to get on the phone. This buyer's super motivated. 4 dings, right? If that's going to get them to respond too. Trust me. It's not just the accountability. It's the urgency that's created when they hear 4 text message tones. Think about when you're laying in bed and you're trying to fall asleep and you get 1 text. And then you get another. And you're really trying to be like, oh, I'll answer it tomorrow. It ain't that important. And then you got another. And then you get another. And then you're like, pick it up, right? It's not even just when we're in bed. It's anywhere. When you hear 4 texts come in consecutive order like that, the likelihood of getting them to respond is sky high. They'll start communicating. They'll start talking. They'll get in touch with each other, okay? Same thing when it comes to the attorney. Attorney, I might do it through email in the beginning. But if it's urgent, and there are cases where there's urgency, my attorney is very accessible. That's why I like working with them. I will put them in a group text, let them know they're here. Sometimes I call the attorney beforehand, just, hey, let you know, we're in a bidding war right now. We got to sign before 3 other people raise their offer. Can we get this done in 1 or 2 days? And ask you, tell them beforehand, instead of just pressure. You just let them know before we start what's happening. And you'll watch. They'll put it on their A game and get it done. All right, so when it comes to referring your team, the group accountability is the most powerful strategy. When you talk to your leads, you want to explain to them, like, listen, if you work with my lender, you work with my attorney, I can get anybody to respond like that. We're not going to have issues where you can't pick up the phone or so-and-so's busy or whatever. Like, they'll get back to me same day because this is my team. This is who I work with. Not to mention, my lender's got, like, the best rates and closing costs out there. Like, that's his whole angle. Like, he just got the best costs. So with all that stuff in mind, you find yourself in a situation where you got a powerful team, you got answers fast, there's accountability, you know how to hand them off, and you're on your way to success. So it pretty much wraps it up. I know most of this was the summary, but we have a lot of new faces, so I wanted everyone to kind of get an idea of what was going on. This was actually a short one anyway. Next week, we're going to talk about working with investors and how we're going to make them want you as the realtor. And if you guys like everything that we learned, or you want to go revisit all the other sessions that we've recorded, all these things, they're going to be available for anyone in the Actually Agents coaching group. You can reach out to me or Aaron. You probably get a faster response from Aaron because I'm just doing so many things. But reach out to one of us, and we'll break it down for you what we got going on with the coaching group.
Nice. Yeah, I'm excited for next week.
We don't get enough commercial stuff around the Discord, so a lot of the tactics too, guys, that were talked about here, we talk about in our weekly mastermind. So we have a session coming up tomorrow. We host that mastermind every Thursday at 7:30, guys. It's a much more open forum where anyone can come up on stage. I mean, it'd take me 30 minutes just to tell you all the great information that happened in just the last one, but everything from role-playing, cold calling, scripting, lead generation tactics. We've had big, huge billion-dollar producers come up. Andrew is...
Oh, you know what?
Every single...
You just reminded me of something. I don't mean to interrupt you. We're gonna put in the calendar of events, we're gonna put role-play times. So if anybody wants to do some role-playing and practice and go over FSBOs, expires, whatever you want to role-play, we're gonna set that up. And we're also gonna start another event on the NAR Code of Ethics, which we're going to go through line by line of each article, and we're going to explore it. We'll spend about an hour each time, and we're going to go in depth and give examples. And that is going to be a little bit more of like a discussion, because the reality is with the NAR Code of Ethics, every state's going to have their own rules. This code applies to all of us, but I can share experiences that I've had here in New York. Some of it might not be applicable to someone in Ohio, right? So I would really love, if you're interested in NAR Code of Ethics, feel free to engage and share as we go line by line and read through it and understand better the rules to the game. If you know the rules to the game, you can dominate the game. I promise you.
Yeah. And Andrew, I got one off-topic question for you here. Most of the chats are just love and support, as always. But Mill Rocks at, if you're calling expireds from a couple of years ago, any advice on how to start that conversation? A little off topic to what we were talking about today, but I know you always got something good.
I mean, listen, my whole style with all my customers is to be very friendly, direct, and straightforward, not to waste time. So I would literally call them like, hey, this is Andrew from so-and-so, whatever, REMI Realty, EXP Realty, whatever I am at this point. This is Andrew Ragusa from EXP Realty. Just out of curiosity, I saw that you were on market like a year ago. Are you interested in getting back on? You know, we're selling houses for record high prices right now.
And that's it. As direct as possible.
Yeah, I would
not
just be
dancing around.
Yeah, I don't play games with people. I might ask them something like, oh, if they say no, I'm not interested. Okay, all right, no problem. Just out of curiosity, why'd you go on market last time? What was going on? No one puts their house on market to feel it out like that, unless like I don't know, they might have a few screws loose because it's very, very inconvenient to put your house on the market, have all these strangers walk through and all this, like, you know, usually there's a life
keeping
event.
the place clean or
so
or not keeping it clean. I've had those listings before.
Right. So I would just be asking questions, and again, we went over this. Probe, ask why, probe through there. Why? What happened? And let them hang up on you if they get angry. No big deal. Most of the time, people who are not being called a lot, they're actually really nice. Like when I do circle prospects, for example, they're not being called all the time. And they're actually, oh, no, I'm not interested in selling my house now, thank you. Or have some people like, I'm just curious, what do you think it's worth?
And I think, honestly, people are more susceptible nowadays when they hear a nice, upbeat, actual person on the end. I can't tell you how many times I pick up my phone and it's, thanks for choosing Marriott Rewards or some other BS, or they have a Middle Eastern accent or whatever. Like, the moment you come in there, not denigrating anyone who has an accent, by the way, but you know the spam calls. People are more nice more often than not. And I had somebody asking me yesterday, he was all pissed off because he called somebody and the prospect on the other end of the line was intensely rude to him. And all I said is, listen, when you're cold calling, immediate no's and hang-ups save you time.
Yeah.
People who have bad attitudes give you experience and opportunity. If you scale people's attitudes from 0 means they're completely combative, completely reluctant, and 10 being they are ready to buy from you right now, if you get somebody that's combative when you're cold calling and you can bring them from a 0 up to a 3 and get that practice, when you hit somebody and they're at a 5, you can bring them up to an 8 or a 10. So you can't lose with cold calling, really.
Right. Totally. And you know what? The worst part about cold calling is finding the people that are not motivated and they just waste your time asking lots of questions. If someone was just like, no, leave me alone and hang out, all right, great, move on, find the next person. When you have those other people that are like, well, just out of curiosity, what do you think my house would sell for? And then you go through this whole process, you set up a date and time, you meet with them, and then they're like, well, I'm not really that, I don't really have to move. Whatever. Those are the people that get under my skin. Because the other guys who just hung up on me, great. But if I find someone who's like, yeah, actually, I'm getting a new job, it's something I was preparing to do soon. That's what I'm looking for, you know? So,
for sure.
My 2 cents.
So I think we'll wrap it up here, guys. Be sure to like the live video before you log off. Please consider subscribing to us here on YouTube. And again, the Real Estate Agent Mastermind is tomorrow, 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific Standard Time. If you have never attended a Real Estate Mastermind, please use this as your sign to come and attend those. They are legitimately, they have been game changers for my business. And I'm not even directly working as a real estate agent anymore, but I get amazing value out of it personally. I can only speak for myself and the people who DM me saying it's amazing value. So thank you everyone for attending. Thank you, Andrew, as always, for sharing this free knowledge with us. And I think we'll leave it at that. Anything you wanted to add, Andrew?
No, I'm really happy to see people coming to the Discord. I noticed that more and more people are coming and it's growing. Even today we had someone say, hey, I've been watching for months and it's the first time that I'm posting. I was like, yes. So guys, help us grow. Send people.
Yeah, invite people, guys. We even have people in the YouTube live chat who said it's their first time attending one of these events. Just so you guys know, my metric ever since we started doing these events is so long as I see one person, one new person at any of these events that I have not seen before, we're going to keep doing them. All right? So help me out in my mission. If you have real estate agent friends, if you have mortgage friends, if anybody you think could benefit that the knowledge, the information, the network, and the community, please invite them to the Discord, because we just want to continue growing. 10,000 members, that's our goal this year.
Yes.
So